You either use the internet for fun or you use the internet to grow. You're here to grow. Welcome to TRS Clips. The first time you ever experienced a Buta Kola, what were you thinking as a child?
I thought it's a cultural act of dance and drama for me. So I thought people may come here at the center, at the epicenter, and they'll start dancing, and one will get the hallucination, or we say darshana in Tulu or Kannada. The most important part is the darshana. That is when the deity comes into the body of the performer or the pambada. That is where he goes into the ecstatic stage. So that is the most important aspect.
But did you think it's an act or did you know that there's something spiritual happening in front of you?
When I witnessed it for the first time, I thought it's just an act.
Do you want to describe it a bit in terms of what do you see? What do you actually witness?
As a child or now, right now?
I'm assuming that it's the same ritual that you saw as a child, right?
Absolutely.
So why don't you describe the ritual first, then explain what you saw, and then explain at what point you figured that what you're witnessing is also a blessing.
Right. So there are about 22 ritualistic practices that they do in a Buta Kola. It's a highly scientific, highly step-by-step procedure that one has to follow while performing the act. Even when I say act, it is act of God, because we heavily rely on the deity to come. So there are 6 practices which are done before the actual Buta Kola and 16 practices during the performance of Buta Kola. So shall I explain each of the steps?
Go for it.
Okay. The first step is the organizer. In Hindi or in Kannada, we can say as the Yajaman. He's the owner or the organizer of that Buta Kola. I may organize it because it is a regulation or a rule that I have to do it every year. Otherwise, I might be facing some problems in my family or in the village. So I would have to invoke him. So there are many reasons as to why I have to organize.
And the same person does it every year?
It depends. So if it is a family tradition, then the head of the family will do it. The eldest of the family will do it. If it's the village Buta Kola, then the head of the village should do it, like the sarpanch or any politician should do it. So if it is a village Buta Kola, then it's a regulation. It's a set rule that they would have to do it every year or every once in 2 years. That has to happen. Otherwise, they are going to face the wrath of the Buta. We have seen it in many villages. We have seen the wrath of Bhutas.
Like what happens?
Sudden famine starts to happen. There's sudden flooding that starts to happen. And then there are instances where people between the age of 25 and 35 will not have a girl to get married with. So there'll be rejections of the girls. So many things happen.
Guys, can we organize a Bhuta Kola? Go on.
So these kind of things happen, which are very much in the material aspect of a society.
Okay.
That is when we have to invoke.
Why do people choose not to do it if it's a part of tradition? Because they think it's old school?
Some of them may feel it's old school. Some of them probably because of financial conditions, they may there'll be some kind of reluctance because they may not have that money. People may assume that he's a rich guy, but then he might be facing some financial issues. Probably for that, he may be reluctant. So there are many problems that may happen, but it has to happen.
Okay.
If it's a niyama, in Tulu and Kannada, we call it as niyama. Rule. So if it is a niyama, they have to do it.
Okay.
So this Yajaman will go to the Buta Kone, like I've explained what is Buta Kone. He has to take bath and then he has to carry a ghee lamp, or else he has to, do Agni Diya, has to be lit in front of the Bhuta, and then he has to request him, saying that I wish to organize a Buta Kola. So you have to come that day to that arena and you have to make sure that the event occurs without any obstacles. So this is the first process that the Yajamana does. So with all the ritualistic this thing, he has to go and approach the Bhuta. And then once that is done, probably 3 to 4 days before the actual event, he will say that the event will be held on this day. It is a night-long event. It's not a morning event. It's done in the night. So he will talk with that deity, and then
What does that mean?
we call it as Madipu. Madipu means to go and talk with that god, saying
How?
that he will talk in Tulu.
Okay. But the deity is already gone inside someone's.
No.
Then?
That happens only during the Buta Kola. This is the practice done before the Buta Kola. Like how we talk to God in any of the temples, we go to this Buta Kone and then we say, we've organized this. Let's assume this is a Buta Kone and I'll go to the Buta Kone and I'll lit a ghee lamp and I'll take the permission that I'm organizing that this. I am so and so person belonging to so and so family, and I wish to organize this Bhutaradhane. I want you to come and make sure that this event happens without any obstacles.
Okay.
So in Kannada, we call it as Sangavagi Nadiyabeku. Sanga means without any obstacles. Okay. So this is done. Once this is done, he tells or there are the employees or the farmers who are working in the field, he will let them know that they have to go into the field and cut a bunch of banana fruit. Not fully ripe, say green bananas. And then they take that entire bunch, you know this entire bunch of banana, right? So they take that and put it in that Buta Kone. Saying that we have not just spoken about it, we are very serious about organizing this. That's the reason we have cut the banana fruit and we are keeping it in front of you.
This is basically some format of tantra also, where you're offering.
Yes.
You're offering food for the deity.
Yes.
You're trying to invoke the deity.
Yes. Okay. Not just that, we are telling him that we are very serious about the happening. We are very serious about the organization of that event on that day. So cutting of the fruit means we are ready.
Understood.
With the event, and we have to make sure that this banana should not be touched or eaten by rats, squirrels, or any kind of birds. So it has to be a purified banana bunch that we have to keep.
Okay.
If there is if rat or any of the animals eat it, then there's the ullangana that happens. So we may have to face the wrath of the god during the event.
That happens.
Sometimes it happens.
So what happens during the event?
He may shout at us. He may shout at the organizer saying that it was eaten by a rat. You've done a mistake. And he has to do a paschatap. He has to do something to again say sorry.
Okay.
In some or the other manner.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is the second part. The third part is Dolu Leppu. Dolu Leppu is there's a community called Koraga. They're the tribals or the Harijans of that region. They're very closely associated with the practice of Buta Kola.
This is not the inhabitants of the villages.
They are.
Okay.
So, the entire land is filled with forest. Even a normal man will stay in the forest. Even the Koragas will stay in the same forest.
But there's a division. As in there are the tribal folk and then there is village folk.
Yes. Okay. Now the division is slightly decreasing.
Got it.
Before that, there was a demarcation.
But they'll pray to the same deity.
Absolutely.
And I'm also assuming that every village will have its own deity.
Yes.
In the same way that we have Kul Devta, this is somewhat like that.
This is the Kshetrapala deities.
Okay.
This is for the protection. Not just one. We may have 3. We may have 5. We may have 7.
Got it.
So this entire deity is attached to a stone. If you have seen Kantara, the king or the people goes into the forest and looks for that particular stone.
Yeah.
So the entire practice revolves around this stone. And we find that energy of that deity inside that stone. This stone is kept on a pedestal in that Buta Kone.
Okay.
Right. So this is very closely, more than the Brahmins or more than the, there's no upper caste, lower caste, nothing as such, because this is a unifying event wherein there's no difference between there's no caste play here. There's no religion play also. So these people are closely associated.
Okay.
The Koragas. So what they do is they go to each and every household, and Dolu is that dole that you see. They go on announcing. It's the kind of marketing promotional activity that happens, that Buta Kola is organized on so and so date. So we request you villages to come and be a part of the Bhaktagan. Uh, become a devotee in that particular event. So this is the third most important activity. These are the three things which is done way before the actual event. Then comes the fourth most important, is the Ganapati Deepune, wherein they take mud from the place where the event is held in a mushti. Like they take it from the ground and they make they make in this shape, and then they put it on the ground and have a hibiscus flower on top of the mud formation, and they say we are praying to Ganapati to stop all the obstacles to happen for the event that is coming up.
How do you know all this in so much detail?
I've seen that.
Okay.
I've gone there.
Have you organized?
No.
Okay.
I'm too young to organize.
You're too young to organize.
Yeah,
That's also a thing.
Because there are elders in the family who will take care of these activities.
Do you think you'll organize at some point in your life?
Probably.
Is there an elder in your family?
My father is there.
He's an organizer.
Yeah. He has his brother also.
Okay.
So there's this elder brother. And then we have, my father has a lot of cousins who takes care of this. They are in Mangalore right now. Okay. They are in that region. So they take care of all these activities.
But it's a part of your bloodline.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's, since I come from a Brahmin tradition, we have a temple wherein we have a Kuladevata. So there's a person who takes care of the proceedings of the Kuladevata. Then there's another guy who takes care of our Naga. Like I've mentioned you about the threefold practices. There's one guy who takes care of Naga. There's another uncle of mine who takes care of all the Bhuta. I think we have 3 Bhutas in our family itself.
You mean 3 different deities that can be summoned during a Kola?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I organize a Buta Kola, if my family organizes a Buta Kola, there'll be 3 Bhutas.
In the same
event. Arena, in the same event.
That's too electric in terms of energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and all 3 are very different. All 3 are different. Their stories are different. Their past lives are different. So there's no, they are connected, but the stories are very different. Very unique.
Nature is different.
Like for example, there are Bhutas who come from Brahmin tradition. They're very calm, composed, like Panjurli type. Panjurli is not from Brahmin tradition. It is a totemistic, as in animal background. Like we have Bhutas which have come from animal lives. Like for example, Panjurli can be attained to white boar. Then there is Pili Chandi, which is from tiger origin. Then there is Pili Bhuta, which is from rat origin. Like if a Bhuta has to come in that event, he'll wear a rat mask. If a Pili Chandi has to come into that event, he'll wear a tiger mask. So all the Bhutas are different in itself.
And the characteristics are like those animals?
Yes. They may start acting like a tiger. So there's this 16 procedure that I mentioned. I'm going to talk about it in detail. So that is when they show their characteristics. I have explained about the 5 rituals which are done before the event. And I have explained about the 4 rituals. The 5th one is the procession that takes place from Buta Kone to the arena, the event where it happens. You might have seen that in the movie, wherein there's a guy who's throwing the crackers and then the police is getting irritated in Kantara. So that is the procession that is taking place in that event. So they have a pallaki, a chariot kind of a thing, wherein 4 people hold it and they take it from that Buta Kone to the arena. That's a huge it's a event with celebrated with great pompous. So to say that people has to know about the procession that is happening. So coming back to the main event, so the performer or the Pambada will start to put Mukhavarnike on his face. That's very important. Applying color on the face based on the characteristic of the Bhuta. So if I put black on my face, it's very ferocious. Then there is yellow, white, red. So depending on the characteristics of the Bhuta, he applies Mukhavarnike. That's when the first process of self hypnosis starts in that person. So once he applies color, that's when he thinks he is invoking that Daiva. So in the meantime, his sister or his mother or his wife will start singing Pardana. Pardana is a ballad about the heroics of that Bhuta. Say if I'm applying, if I want to invoke Panjurli, then the women folk will start singing the Pardana of Panjurli. That is when the slow hypnosis starts. That's when he starts shaking his body.
Have you witnessed this yourself?
Yes. It's a public event.
Okay.
So at the corner of that arena, he starts to apply, and then the hypnosis starts.
And you can witness the hypnosis happening.
Yes, very much. So, and then once he applies that color, then he goes ahead and he puts on this headgear based on the characteristics. Everything happens based on the characteristics of that Bhuta. So there's a headgear that happens, there's this Yedekattu chest gear that happens, and then the most crucial part is the Gaggara, which is unique to the practice of Buta Kola. Gaggara is the anklet made of metallic material. It is kept in front of the Buta Kola, in front of the Bhuta. He picks it from there. He takes the blessing of that Bhuta, he picks it, and then he starts to dance. That is when the actual invoking happens. So he holds it, it has to be put on the anklet, but then before putting it onto his feet, he starts doing this. So if you have observed any of the Bhuta Kolas, they do this. And they start dancing, they start to get into that trance. This is the actual transformation that happens.
You know, and a lot of skeptics would think that all this is an act. But people who witnessed it know that at this point something happens.
Right.
I've been fortunate enough to see a Kola. No, I don't think it was like the full demonstration of it. But there is a temple outside Mumbai where a bi-weekly Kola happens. There are also temples where this can happen, like every 2-3 days there is a Kola. It is a thing, right?
It is a thing. Okay. I mean, it is being organized by different people, probably at the same arena.
Okay, got it. Okay.
It's not done by the same party. Yeah. Organized by different parties, probably.
The one I saw was a very small one. It wasn't even a fierce Kola.
Okay.
When the deity came out, I think coconuts were thrown before the deity came out. And when the person in the trance appeared, there were people around me who fainted.
Right.
I was just like awestruck. I was seeing this trance going on, and this is very new for me. So I was just in a very absorbing mindset. But people around me were screaming, falling down.
Right.
What's happening in the environment when this trance is going on?
This entire environment becomes a theater, because he will start dancing with the Gaggara. That's a very unique sound. You can play it later. That's a sound wherein we are invoking the Daivas, and it may hit anybody, since the energy of the Daiva is coming into that arena, not just in his body, into an entire arena or village. So few of the ladies may faint, few of the elders of the family may faint, they may feel some kind of levitation or vibration in the body that happens. These are the things that happens, because if a monster as in the energy monster, not in terms of negative connotation, if a highly energy is coming into our surrounding, then people are going to faint.
It's like how you feel warm around a fire.
Absolutely. Something like that. So it is directed towards that person, Pambada. He's the epicenter, but few of the others who are sitting there may feel the energy.
Okay.
So it's a common thing that happens. If a new person is witnessing that, he may also faint. So, but for people in that region, it's a common practice.
Okay.
So he starts dancing that. Once he's done, he puts it into his anklet, and then he takes his kadsale. Kadsale is the sword, and then he takes a bell on his left hand, and he starts to perform. This happens, and this is a very, good to see, Some kind entertainment can also be mixed with it. So people come here to see that kind of dance, and it's a very unique ritualistic practice that this person performs. So there are about 8 types of ritualistic dance that happens. So we call it as Nalike in Tulu. So after this process, then he takes rest. He drinks coconut water. He drinks intoxicated coconut water as well. We call it as sendi. Sometime he consumes that, and then once that is done, he'll give prasad in the form of ganda. Ganda means saffron mixed kumkum. So he gives that prasad to everybody. And if we have any questions or any judgments that has to happen, he will be there for us. He will warn us in case we are two brothers and somebody is cheating the other. He may warn that brother that you are cheating your own brother. Make sure you don't do that. Is the word from the deity itself. It's a warning. Then after the warning, he may also confront. He may also be very, very angry, and he may also start shouting for varied reasons. Fourth one is the comforting. So he will say, I am there for you people. You need not worry about anything. Say, let's say there's a tsunami that is happening in the eastern shore of India, in Tamil Nadu, and this Panjurli or this deity will say, I am there to protect you in Mangalore. So people psychologically will think these deities will save us from tsunami. So that is the kind of impact these deities have, wherein if they say a word, it is like a judgment. So he also acts as a tribunal, solving a lot of issues.
I think in ancient Greece, this was called oracle.
Absolutely.
Very similar to oracle.
Yes, it is an oracle.
What is an oracle for people who don't know what that word is?
Oracle as in he also gives prophecies. He may say, don't do this, something going to happen tomorrow. You're not supposed to do it. And then people start cutting trees. There's afforestation that happens. Suddenly a deity will come and warn us that if you do this, this is going to happen. This is the oracle that happens. So, and people have questions like astrological questions. They will be asking about various questions to deities as well. Whether I am planning to do this, is it okay? I am planning to build a 5-star hotel in this region, is it okay? That's when the deity will say, no, don't do it.
Or yes.
Or yes. Or yes, I am there. I am there to protect and make sure you prosper in that business.
Is there any physical interaction? Like
This is the physical interaction that happens through that person.
I meant to say, will the deity hit the person ever?
Sometimes
Really?
there are.
Like the deity hits someone.
Yeah.
Like what?
He may just slap
Hard.
soft, all kinds of confrontation that happens.
You've seen a hard slap?
I have seen.
Why did someone get hard slapped?
Probably he may be standing there questioning the deity, questioning the very existence of the deity, or acting stupid, standing in front of them in disbelief. You are just a person, you're not the deity. Probably this is what is in his mind, that person's mind. And suddenly the deity may come and slap. There's this small practice called Sabin Depune, wherein the deity comes and stands in front of each of the individuals sitting in the front row. He checks whether this person has come, So you have organized this event. The deity will make sure your brother, your mother, your father, your sister, your wife, everybody has come to that event. If your brother has not come to that event, he will ask you, where is your brother? He may question you through symbols, or he may ask you also, where is your brother? Where is he? What is he doing right now? This may be the question. So I have seen such acts. Let's assume that I'm sitting in the third row. The deity cannot talk. So I have a daughter. He may ask. So these are the postures that they make.
Through gestures they make us.
Through gestures. So, and I feel taken aback. How does this deity know I have a daughter or not?
Okay.
So this is what is making people come back to organize, to perform. Because when you know that there is something unknown which is bigger, mightier than you, then you will have to rely on that energy.
New clips released at the same time that a podcast releases. This is TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe.